environmental crises that are more daunting than ever. PFAS and other toxics are showing up in our water supply, our landfill continues to fill up, plastic pollution is everywhere. Perhaps most importantly, we face the climate crisis. We just experienced a couple of 65-degree days in January. Rhode Island has already experienced more warming than any other of the 48 lower United States. We had the warmest decade on record. Farmers and fishers can attest to the weird weather patterns that are disrupting our traditional lifestyles and economies. And our 400 miles of coastline are threatened by rising sea levels. And yet, no noteworthy environment, climate, or energy bills have passed the General Assembly over the last 2 years. We need to take action in 2020. Meanwhile, funding for environmental protection is on the decline. For these reasons, the Environment Council of Rhode Island will be launching a climate crisis campaign in 2020. We'll also be here in the Statehouse every day this session, pushing for environmental policies and programs, including enforceable carbon emissions reductions targets, a green bond on the ballot in 2020, bills to reduce plastic pollution, and many more. The advocates here in this room today have solutions to these pressing environmental issues. So I hope that you have had the opportunity to talk to these experts, or will have the opportunity to talk to them, to learn about how you can support strong policy this session. You can find out more about all of these priorities. We have a list of our priorities for the 2020 session on the table on the left here, your right. We also hope that you check in with Greg. Greg, can you raise your hand? He has a clipboard so we can get you more information. We also have a booklet showing the faces and names and contact information for ecoRI's environmental advocates. So I would like to recognize Rep. Handy, Chair Conley, and Senator Lawson as well for being here today. And finally, I'd like to kick off our speaking program with the Senate President. President Ruggerio has represented Providence and North Providence since 1985. Over the course of the presidency, he has been a champion of environmental issues, including leading initiatives to reduce toxics and now leading the initiative to reduce plastics. So please join us, and thank you for your leadership, President.
Thank you very much, Patty. I want to welcome not only everyone here, but also my colleagues who took the time out to come here for this very important forum. Once again, I'm pleased to join you and bring the greetings of the Senate. Rhode Island's the ocean state, and from the beautiful beaches and the woodlands of western Rhode Island, our residents are deeply connected to our environment. At the same time, we're a coastal community, and we're particularly sensitive to the impact of climate change. Climate change is real, there's no doubt about it. Rhode Island has led the way on many fronts in terms of environmental stewardship, including becoming home to the nation's first offshore wind farm. I'm proud to say that U.S. News and World ranked Rhode Island's environmental laws as the best in the nation. We are immensely proud of that in the Senate. And that is no small part to the work of my colleagues in the Senate, many of them on the Environment and Agriculture Committee, but I have to recognize the chairwoman of that particular committee, Susan Sosnowski, because she has done great things for the last 2 decades, and there really has not been an environmental initiative that she has not been involved with. So I know she can't be here today, she's a very busy lady, but I want to recognize the efforts that she's put forth in the past. And this year, we have a number of environmental proposals that we're looking at. Obviously, it was mentioned the Plastic Waste Reduction Act, which prohibits single-use plastic bags, and was the first bill introduced this session. And I'm proud of the sponsors because a lot of them are from coastal communities. Senator Coyne, Senator Hoyer, Josh Miller, and of course Senator Sosnowski. We continue to work to reduce plastic straws, and that is an initiative that has been sponsored by the Senate Majority Leader Michael McCaffrey. And while we have a complex issue as far as solar siting, Senator Sosnowski has once again reintroduced that legislation, and I'm sure she will come to some resolution this year. We look forward to working together with the Environmental Council of Rhode Island on all of these issues. I want to thank you for what you do each and every day to make Rhode Island a better place to live. Thank you very much, and as I say all the time, my office is always open for suggestions from anyone who feels that we can make Rhode Island a better place and create a better environment for our future children. So thank you very much.
I'd like to recognize also Senator Valverde and Rep. Phillips who have joined us. And if the majority leader is here, Leader Shekarchi, please join me. Leader Shekarchi has represented Warwick constituents in the House since being elected in 2012. He has been the majority leader since 2016. In addition to his work on labor, he has been a champion of animal rights, which is an issue close to many of the hearts in this room. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you, and thank you all for being here today and for your advocacy, because it's only hearing from you, meeting you, listening to your concerns, and learning from you that we as legislators can enact laws that effectuate real change. I want to recognize Chairman Craven. I didn't know if he was recognized in the opening remarks. He was here. Representative Hawkins joined us. And of course, I know he was recognized, but I want to give him another shout out, is the chairman of the House Environment Committee, David Bennett. David is environmentalist. And of course, somewhere in this audience, you might not be able to see her, but she's here is Amy Moses. She's my environmental touchstone. When I get texts, thank you, there she is. Amy is a colleague. She worked in state government not too far from now, a few years back, and she constantly texts and tweets all kinds of environmental issues, goals, positions to me all the time. And when I mean all the time, I mean late at night, 6 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, I get a text or a tweet from Amy regarding environment. So she's a champion, and you should really thank her for what she does, because it's a 24-hour job. It's my pleasure to welcome all the legislators here today, and obviously the Senate President spoke very well about the work that we as a legislator have done, but really want to talk about you today and the 60 dedicated environmental organizations that make up the Environmental Council of Rhode Island. Today is an opportunity for the members of the Council to discuss their legislative priorities with each of us. Each one of you are a Rhode Islander. Each one of you should know who your state rep and state senator is, and they should know who you are. So if you don't know who they are, please knock on their door, call them, send them an email. It's only then that through interaction, through contact, that we can build a relationship, and hopefully it'll work for both of us going forward. We urge you to spend time today with your legislators and get to know the members of the Environmental Committee. There are champions, whether it's animal rights, whether it's business, whether it's labor, whether it's public safety. Legislators are people, and we all have our passions. I'm no exception to it. So your passion, obviously, is the environment, and you need to continue that. And find the legislators who support your position and help them. Help them in their campaign, and help them educate fellow legislators, because that's how real change happens. Input is important, and we are blessed here in Rhode Island with a great Department of Environmental Management. I know Terry Gray was recognized earlier, but I also want to not only recognize for all the good work that he does, and some of the things that he does, but also Director Coit. They have a challenge every day of balancing a good economy in Rhode Island, which we need jobs and development, and protecting the environment. And that's not an easy job. So hats off to Terry Gray, to Janet Coit, please. It's because of their initiative, we have a plant in Johnston right now that does food to energy. So there's food waste to energy. We're looking at one that does medical waste to energy, and that's all on the forefront of DEM. So we're not only talking about solar and wind, but we're looking at all types of alternative energy. It's very, very important, and we need to continue to support those efforts. In closing, what I would urge you all to do is not only to come up here and be advocates, but to seek out good, sound development in Rhode Island. Be it a solar project, alternative energy wind project, be involved in it, support it, work with them. I can't think of a developer in the state that I don't represent or know in my private practice that would not welcome support from the environmental community in a development. Find out early, is this a project we can support? Is this a solar project that's going to go on a landfill or a contaminated site? And is the money going to be used to clean it up? Well, if that's the case, work with them on that. If this is solar that's going to cut down some diseased trees, work with them to reforest and replant trees on that site and somewhere else in the local community. It's only then by working together with the business community, with the developers, and trust me, they welcome that. If you're fair and you're reasonable and you work in a collaborative partnership, you will get things done. That's just a known fact. Thank you for your advocacy. Thank you for having me here today. Greetings on behalf of the House and the entire General Assembly. Please keep up the good work you do. The environment is our single biggest resource. We need to protect it for generations to come. Thank you very much.